Now, we've got a special guest on the line, less than an hour until the start of action in Essendon Ford Division 1, and the coach of the Taylors Lakes Football Club, they're at Willowbrook Reserve just down the road today, taking on West Meadows. Sam Tankard has been good enough to join us on EDFL Preview. Sam, thanks for your time. How is the build-up to the game at West Meadows today going for your team?
Yeah, good, thanks, Phil. We've probably got our best side in for the year, with only Adrian Longo is the only one unavailable being overseas, so certainly gives us the best chance to see where we're at.
Sammy, Adem, Saricaoglu here, mate. Thanks for joining us, particularly before a game, and a massive one at that, because we know the Tigers are up and about as well. But we came out for Web TV, and there was a pretty positive vibe around the place. You guys obviously want to be able to achieve something this year. It probably would be fair to say you've probably underachieved so far. Have there been circumstances behind that, or are you boys just simply not performing to the level you should be at the moment?
Yeah, well, I think it's probably, besides Craigieburn and Dooders, who I think I've seen them both at their best, I think every other game we've had opportunities in the game to win, especially against Oak Park and East Keilor. East Keilor we kicked 8-16. Oak Park, we had control of the game for the first half and really should have been a 6 or 7 goal lead at half time. And then to Oak Park's credit, they sort of ran over us in the last quarter. So certainly, if we win those 2 games, that puts us back up and only a game outside of the 4. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Turnovers has been a big issue for us. We turned the ball over at crucial times. So yeah, they've certainly hurt us. But so on the way home, we're just looking to really shape the finals and get back to playing our best footy. Like I said, this is the first time all year we've had a full side. Our new recruit Tommy Brown's third game in today, and even in his second game, him and Jeremy Page had a really good battle and probably broke square, so that probably gives you an indication of how good he is without doing any sort of pre-season. So we're looking to see the best of him in the last sort of second half of the year, and hopefully push a few of these sides and beat them. So yeah.
Sam, when we spoke to you for Web TV, you were made to feel at home right away at Taylors Lakes and had really taken quite quickly to the club and felt at home. But what has been the biggest challenge through this losing streak the club's on? And how do you keep the mood high around training? And what does it take to keep the squad engaged and switched on so that they can turn up and perform on a day like today when you've got a winnable game if you're good enough?
Yeah, well, I think that's it. I think we are all competitive. You're all going to win games of footy. No one likes losing. So training's been fantastic. The numbers or anything haven't dropped off, and we've trained really well. We just probably haven't been converting it to full 4-quarter performances. We've been doing it for a quarter or 2. Like last week against Craigieburn in the second quarter, we kicked 4 in a row and got it back to 14 points. And then we didn't bring it out after half time, and they sort of blew us away. So. But the club's been really good, so we just got to, I think it's just a confidence thing. Once you start losing a couple, it sort of snowballs, and we just got to get back on the winner's circle. I think then we can certainly turn it around after that.
As far as the messaging in the preparation for today's game against West Meadows, make or break. I mean, 3 games back as we speak from the top 4, and only 1 win ahead of the current relegation place in Hillside. I mean, if you go down today, is this make or break, and has that been a factor in, I suppose, the messaging to the playing group ahead of the game?
No, absolutely not. Not talking about finals, not talking about relegation, just talking about West Meadows, and trying to get back to playing our best football. There's 8 rounds of footy to go, so we just want to get back to playing good footy. I think if we play our best footy, there's no doubt. I think besides Dooders and Craigieburn, we can beat all the other sides. But we just got to get back to playing that best. So we've seen it for a quarter last week against Craigieburn, but need to see it for 4 quarters today against West Meadows.
And last one before we let you go, Sam. I know that you're an advocate for bringing in a points and a salary cap, and Taylors Lakes, through the first 6 weeks of the season, had the lowest average points tally of any of the 27 EDFL clubs, including one game where you have to have a minimum of 22 points from your players, 1 each at a minimum, and your team ran out onto the field with a team that was worth 24. given that Taylors Lakes is at the very bottom end of the points cap and really would be competitive exactly the same straight away, how important does your club see it that some competitive balance measures are brought in by AFL Victoria for local footy?
Yeah, I've certainly been big on it for 4 or 5 years, especially being at Dooders and running the playing budget down there. I just don't like the way the football's going with the money, so I think it certainly needs to happen, and we'll get back to a lot more competitive football. If you take Dooders and Craigieburn out of it this year, how even would the competition be then? So I think it's a good thing. We're obviously in a great position. There's so many Taylors Lakes guys. We're already sort of looking towards next year who we can sort of bring in and signing all our players up in the next few weeks to make sure we lock them away. But I think it just has to happen. It'll give everyone an opportunity to be able to win a premiership in the near distant future, where at the moment I don't think it is. If you go back through A grade the last probably 10 or 15 years, there's probably only 1 or 2 sides. I know Keeler got one with McGuan in his first year, but really the sides that are spending the most money are winning the flags. It's as simple as that. And it's the same going to be in Division 1 this year. There's Craigieburn and Dooders, and probably the same in A grade. So it's no secret about that. Hopefully, I'm looking forward to it and think it'll be fantastic.
Well, we appreciate your thoughts so close to the start of the game. We'll keep a keen eye on the scores from Willowbrook Reserve today. All the best to your team, Sam, and thanks for joining us on EDFL Preview.
Not a problem, anytime.
We have our next phone guest on the line from the Maribyrnong Park Football Club. Assistant coach Luke Pietro has joined us because Maribyrnong Park is at Strathmore today, taking on Strathmore in a blockbuster Premier Division clash with 4th spot very much in play. Luke, thanks for joining us on EDFL Preview.
G'day, James. Thanks for having me.
A massive day for Maribyrnong Park today. Clashes with Strathmore have often been hotly contested and near the top of the ladder. How exciting is it to know that 4th place is on the line in a game like today and a big prize is up for grabs in a home and away match?
Oh, yeah, obviously it's a massive day for both clubs, really. Scheme of things, when you look at the way the position on the ladder, it's really is that 8-point game. So, we're really excited about the opportunity that we've got. Obviously our goal is to try and take that 4th spot, and Strathmore's in our way, so we need to try and get the 4 points today to make sure that we give ourselves every possible chance of finishing at the end of the year.
Luke, Adem Saricaoglu here. Good luck today. Massive game against Strathmore, but I just want to talk about just how well Marby have gone so far this year. I mean, you only have to go back to the last round last year, and we were at the Dooders game against the Northern Saints, and certain results could have meant that Marby was the team that could have ended up going down. And it's been a massive, massive improvement on last year, obviously, and we're not that far removed from Marby winning a couple of A-grade flags, come down a bit. But we've always known that you've got a very talented list. We always see a lot of good players that have a lot of talent, obviously. A lot have come through to VFL, either going to the VFL or have come back from the VFL, TAC Cup players, and I think maybe a few draftees as well recently. How is that talent coming on, and is it coming on perhaps a bit quicker than perhaps you were expecting, because the improvement has been pretty large?
Yeah, it has. Last year was certainly a wake-up call for us, I suppose. We understood, that we're probably pretty lucky to stay up in the end. But we made the most of it. To our boys' credit, last year we had, 85% of the list recommit to us for this year, with about 6 or 7 rounds to go. So regardless where we were playing footy, which division we were playing footy in this year, the boys had all recommitted, which was a step in the right direction. We worked pretty hard in the off-season in trying to secure a few recruits. We knew that there were some areas that we lacked, which we think that we've done. But, the most pleasing thing from our point of view has certainly been the progress of our homegrown players. We've got our average this stage of our senior group's 23 years old. We've had 9 players that have been 21 or under play senior footy for us this year. So the progression of those homegrown players has been certainly the most pleasing aspect of what we've done in the off-season. They've been a big part of the, the progression that we've made this season. And some of the positives that we had out of last year, even though we did not win many games, we just done enough to stay up, but we got a lot of games into those younger boys. So those kids have now had sort of 15 to 20 senior games. And we're really starting to see the fruits of that labour last year, where they played a lot of senior footy. And that became some really good senior footballers for us this year, which is, they've come on and leaps and bounds, and we couldn't be happier. And that's certainly the most pleasing with the progress that we've made, probably in the last 12 months or so.
Dish out some finds, mate. Give us some names of some kids that we perhaps haven't really heard too much about that we probably should be talking about.
Oh, yeah, certainly, Nathan McClellan's probably been our best back in all year. Unfortunately, he hurt himself a couple of weeks ago, so he won't play for the rest of the year, which is a real shame. Ruben Fulton-Grigg, young kid, so he's come up through our junior program as well, just out of under 18. He was holding the spot in our starting midfield. Unfortunately for Ruben, he did his knee against Avondale, so he's out for 12 months as well. Lockie Doran has been playing back pocket for us for the majority of this year. Well, he's played every game, so he's only 20 years old. He'll get the job on United today, so looking forward to that. That's probably his biggest challenge to date so far, but he's certainly come on and leaps and bounds and done everything we've asked of him. A couple of other kids, Connor Marr, who's still eligible for under 18, he'll play again today. So he's played a fair bit of senior footy over the last 2 years. Luke Ryan is another young fella. Finished second out BNF last year as an 18-year-old, so he's been super important for us. And then we've got Brody Rominski, who has been a staple of our senior side when he's been available for us. Unfortunately for us, his good form's got him a couple of gigs at the Western Jets over the last couple of weeks, which is great for him. But he's been playing there for the last 2 or 3 weeks. As a first-year player, was named second best for them last week. So that's probably where most of our improvements come from, to be fair, over the last 12 months.
And speaking of those homegrowns, one of the club's favourite sons, Tuke Miller, was back taking junior training at Maribyrnong Park during the week. Obviously a proud moment for the club when he was drafted, joining Rory Atkins in the AFL, and great to see him come home and give something back so early in his young career.
Oh, fantastic. The joint was choppers on Wednesday night. So Tuke, I think he was a little bit embarrassed, but he sort of drove the initiative. He had the week off, was down home. After he could come back, we're only 2 weeks to have him, obviously, but he was, got to train at 5 o'clock, spent 20 minutes with each of the 4 age groups. Training finished at about 7. He was in the rooms answering questions from, players, from junior players and parents. He was there till about 9:30 or 10 o'clock on Thursday night. Just, fantastic to see his progression. He obviously played some senior footy for us as a 15-year-old back in 2011. And Rory also. Rory was down the week before. He had the week off, so he came down. He was at home, lobbed up to train on Thursday night with his kid on enough. We could have a run around with the senior boys, which is fantastic. He was down there again Saturday, so we couldn't be prouder of those 2 boys, especially the way that they conducted themselves. They're a credit to themselves as well as a credit to the club. And we're hoping that Rory, if he can continue his good form in the circle, might be eligible to get his senior debut in the next week or 2, which would be another really proud moment for the club.
And just lastly, Luke, before we let you go, round 1, Maribyrnong Park led by half-time. It was a real shootout, and then scoring slowed down a little as Strathmore kicked 10 goals to 4 in the second half. What did the team learn from that game, and what will be implemented to take on Strathmore today?
Yeah, good question. It's certainly one area we've been working on is our defence. We're leaking too many points. We understand that. So we've got to try and contain. Their 4 line's obviously very potent today. They'll have had little play for them with Essendon having the VFL bye, so we're fully aware of their capability up forward to kick a big score. So as a team, we probably need to start defending a little bit better at getting these games. We don't want it to be a shootout as such. So that's the way the round 1 game went. But we've got to just try and, in all games of footy, really got to try and win the midfield battle. If we can win the midfield battle and make sure that we don't let them have too many clean entries into their good forwards, we'll go a long way to us winning, obviously.
Well, Luke, we appreciate your time so close to the start of the game. We'll keep a keen eye on scores from Lebanon Reserve, and all the best to your Maribyrnong Park team this afternoon. Thanks for joining us on EDFL Preview.
No worries, Jess. It's been a pleasure, and thanks for having me.
Just trying to look through the pack here. Travis, throw it down to you. Take it away.
G'day, guys. I'm down here with Jess Rush. Had a great game today. Managed to kick 3 goals to sneak up forward. How'd that go for you?
Yeah, 3 lucky ones, I think. A couple on the run. Usually play up on the wing, so it was good to get forward and kick a few.
Yeah, you kicked a great one in the last quarter from the boundary line over there. Greenvale sitting 3rd on the ladder at the moment, and probably one of the teams that are coming to really challenge you guys come finals times. Were you expecting, I suppose, a margin like that in the end, and what were you thinking coming into it?
I think the margin in the end is, it was pretty good. It felt like they were in it for a lot of the game. I suppose we kicked a lot of behinds, and we played them 2 years ago in the grand final and they beat us. So it's always good to get a win against Greenvale. Feels good.
Might get a bit of revenge then. Great, thanks for that, Jess. Had a great game.
But we have our first guest with us here in the box. It's Adem Potter, the Aberfeldie coach. And Adem, when you came up here to Section Road today, were you expecting a scoreline like this?
Yeah, no, probably not, Tao. We felt that they'd been in just as good as form as what we've been in. If you look at their results over the previous 6 or 7 weeks, they've been, the margins that they've been inside by are very similar to ours. So we didn't expect it, but we knew if we brought our A game down here that, we'd be able to put them under pressure. And to our credit, I thought, the way we, particularly our defence, held up and then were able to move the ball really effectively going inside 50, we gave ourselves real good opportunities to put a score on the board. Probably a bit indirect, but, really pleased with how it turned out.
Final quarter, they've got it back to 23 points. They're attacking again, trying to make it 17. We noticed that they didn't kick back-to-back goals all day until that point, and they were moving to within range of 3 in a row, and we started talking up the comeback as neutrals are prone to do, looking for a close finish. So was that the most work you had to do on the bench today, or was there some other point of the game where you really had to work and make sure you kept control of the match?
Yeah, I guess losing Brock early in that first quarter, we had to manage our rotations right throughout the day, and then young Victor Carboni, concussion, copped a head knock. He went off as well, so we're down to 2 on the bench, and then Jess Laurie was struggling to run the game out as well. So yes, we were concerned they kicked 2 in a row and it got back, but it shows a little bit about what our group are trying to achieve this year. They're really driven. They take ownership out in the ground. Luke Davis and Josh Toy down back just rally the troops and bring them together. And I thought, they hardly had a rotation in that last quarter, so I thought they were terrific with how they managed that.
Any team that can afford to have a Daniel Thompson and a Jacob Hislop playing in the twos is probably going pretty well depth-wise. The man we're about to speak to as well hasn't played in a long time. I think last time against Greenvale was his last game. And he's our best on ground today, Wayne Patak. That's without, obviously, Remus. Johns, I think, was hobbling around a lot today as well. So the depth, the signs are looking great, aren't they?
Yeah, look, and you add Kyle Remus to that, and Angus Graham will probably play next week. So, we're in a good position, and I think we've played 35 or 36 players, right across the list. So, yes, we definitely had some good depth, and there's definitely pressure on. And, having Wayne and Brad Vassell back today, I thought they were both important at times. They're strong bodies around the midfield, and they just, give us that extra rotation with Cabillo, Blackwell and others in there. So, yeah, really pleased with how Grubb's come back, and obviously Brad as well. And it was great to see Gareth Phillips also get through. He's had a horrid run with injuries, and it's great for him to get through that game.
Yeah, we'll have a word with Wayne Patak, our sports moves best on ground. But I also like the work of Jesse Rush. Can you tell us a little bit more about his game and what he brings to the club? Yeah,
look, Jess has had an indifferent year. He's lacked a bit of confidence at time. I'm just trying to, instill that confidence in him that he can take the game on, that he can run. And I thought he showed that today. He just ran the game out. He continued to get through the lines. He kicked a couple of goals, and again, he played his role really well. So hopefully, again, he can take some real confidence from that game that'll keep, improving him as a player moving forward. But I thought he had a really good game today on the wing.
We're fascinated by just exactly what role Luke Davis had today, because we noticed we didn't call his name a whole lot, but perhaps it was more of a defensive role. He's a very good player, as we've seen in recent years across half-back. What was the plan for him today? Yeah, look,
we had specific matchups down there. We felt that we didn't really have the opportunity to maybe play the player behind the ball, and he had to play on Thompson a fair bit. And so, he was just playing his role down back, directing traffic, making sure that, he was beating his direct opponent. So I thought, while he probably didn't have as much of the offensive footy this week, he definitely played his role defensively.
And just lastly, how many weeks for Remus? When we heard the hamstring, we were disappointed because we obviously enjoy watching him play footy, but how far away is he from a return, and what has that done to, again, the opportunities that it throws some other players in that forward line?
Yeah, look, I think the key with our forward line, Tao, if you look at even last week, we had 15 goal kickers. We've got that flexibility down there that different players can bob up each week and kick goals. And again, I don't know, I haven't had a good look at who kicked them, but I'm sure it's been shared around throughout that forward group. Yeah, he may play next week. He's a bit like a caged lion. He wants to play every week, but I just felt he wasn't quite right. He didn't get through the week in terms of training, so we made the call on Thursday night to make sure he didn't play this week. But yeah, next week he's a chance, but no guarantees.
Well, Adam, we appreciate your time. Congratulations on another win. The unbeaten season rolls on, and I'm sure we'll be speaking at or close to finals time again on EDFL Radio. So thanks for your time.
Cheers, boys.
We'll now welcome our Sportsmoves best on ground. Hadn't played since round one. Bit of a Greenvale specialist so far. You've only seen 2 opponents this year, Wayne Patak. Thanks for joining us on EDFL Radio. Why were you able to return today so sharp and able to really turn it on right from the off? Are you someone that doesn't need a gallop to get match practice back, or had you actually been biding your time waiting for a return?
Yeah, because it's the shoulder, I've actually been able to do the majority of training each week. It's just the match side of things I haven't been able to do until, obviously last week, first game. Seems to be always against Strathmore. I come back through the reserves. But, Potts was just happy that I actually got through last week, and that's what he was more concerned about, just how my body's feeling and how it's holding it up. And, we got through well and had a good win last week, and then I was just actually, pretty happy to get a game this week, coming into a team that hasn't lost a game, and, there's obviously not going to be too many changes, so just happy to, be out there and be amongst it again.
It's a team that sings a song a lot in recent years, but I doubt you've been on a run like this. You're beyond the halfway point of the season now. We're in late June and you haven't had a loss yet, so...
Yeah, it's all positive. Potsy tries to keep a lid on it during the week at training and sort of doesn't let us become complacent in a way, whereas we're always working on things we've got to improve and, sort of just trying to keep a level head and not get too far ahead of ourselves.
Now, we are out at Greenvale. They had the brilliant spectacle of having the highlights and the replays on the board. What is it like as a player to sort of experience that sort of more like professionalism around the league?
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit different. Try not to pay too much attention to it and just sort of focus on our jobs, what we're going to do out there. But yeah, it's definitely something a bit different to what we're used to. And it's something good to look forward to, these games. And especially knowing that they had their past players day on today. So it just gives us a little bit more drive to perform. And it's always tough coming out here. I think it's only the second time we've won out here. So, it's always nice to come out here and get a win, especially with we've got the ball on tonight, so it'll be a bit more something to look forward to.
We noticed there was no push and shove, no melees, nothing untoward as far as hard tackles or high tackles or anything outside the rules. I mean, was that just because it's a hot footy out there and you've got to direct all the attention, or was it just one of those games where there's enough mutual respect that no one's going to go and start a fight?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. We've come to that understanding. Yeah, I think just every time we play, it's always a good game and it's always, fairly fair. So, you get your occasional incident here and there, but we've sort of got enough respect for each other, I think, to just focus on winning the ball and just beating them on the scoreboard, I guess.
Do you personally like the big occasions? I mean, calling the grand finals recently, you probably were Aberfeldie's best player almost on both days, perhaps. And obviously today, a pretty big day as well. I mean, we had you as our best on ground. We'll see what the coaches have to say about that when the best come out. But do you personally like, when it's a bit on the line, you want to prove a point?
I look forward to these games a lot more than I would, the games where we're pretty positive that we're going to, win.
Favourites,
so these games, it's been my whole career, I think. It's just, I enjoy getting up for the big games and, I look forward to it and it's a good challenge and it really shows where, you're at as a club and individually and, it's a good sign today just seeing everyone playing their role and we knew that if everyone sort of, or more than half beat their opponent, then we're going to win the game. And I think today we had that.
Any plugs for the ball tonight, by the way?
No.
No plug? Okay.
Just
get down there.
One last one. Some of your teammates, I mean, Carboni's come back from the TAC Cup. Vassal's new this year. Laurie's new this year. Tell us a bit about those guys, what they've brought to the club, and also how they've fit in, because it really does seem like a seamless transition, but any new player needs to sort of find their feet at a new club. So how has it been for those guys? One a promoted junior and the other 2 new recruits.
I think, the players we've recruited this year, sort of like Vassal's, he's got a lot of experience and he's just adding more depth to our midfield. Yeah, Victor Carboni's, probably one of the most exciting players we've got on the field. And, if it wasn't for him going down with a concussion, he probably would have had a lot more in the second half. But I think, we're just gelling very well together at the moment and sort of no one's getting ahead of themselves and I think that's where Potsy's so good because, he sort of keeps everyone in line and, we're all on the same page sort of thing. And I think that's why we should keep it going.
Well, if I can ask you one last favour, Wayne, if I can just get you to hold up the hoodie, we'll get you one in a more appropriate size. We bring the one size fits all for everyone here, but you are the Sportsmoves best on ground today. Thank you for putting on such a great display, you and your teammates, and congratulations on another win, and all the best for the rest of the season.
Thanks, fellas.
Travis Poznachowski has come up from the Greenvale rooms. Pozza, you can't hear us right now, so we'll bring you in now. Pozza, unfortunately, we haven't been able to grab an interviewee in time to come up Greenvale Everest here and chat to us in the box, but what was the mood down in the Greenvale rooms after this 40-point defeat to Aberfeldie?
Yeah, an extended debrief it seemed that Shannon Grant had down there. Eventually got in about 2 or 3 minutes ago, had a quick chat to him to see if he wanted to come up, but it was a very, very somber mood. He didn't seem too impressed, I'd say, after getting within about 20 points in that final quarter and then to finish up 40-point with a 40-point loss. Yeah, wasn't very happy, so yeah, wasn't able to make it up here, unfortunately.
It's it's a tough gig coaching. I'm more prone to cutting the coaches slack than perhaps some of the other members of the team. Maybe one that's up on the Gold Coast at the moment.
Did he say anything to you though?
He asked me if I was in the room at the moment as the debrief was going on. So obviously a few things have been said, maybe a few home truths to some of the players. I wasn't in the room, so I told him that no, definitely wasn't in there. I didn't want to get it on the wrong side of Shannon Grant.
Fair enough. How would you have gauged the body language of the players after what we assume was a bit of an honesty session?
All just sitting on the ground. I think their heads down, really quiet in there. There was not a lot of talk. So it was, like I said, a very extended debrief. I was standing out there for quite some time, just having a chat to a couple of people from Aberfeldie.